It is so wonderful to see you all. With the lights, I don't really see you, but I see you. I have often said, I am doing, or I can do what I'm doing, obviously, first of all, because of God. And next to that, because of you all. Because I feel the strength, I feel the prayers. Some days are more difficult than other days. Some days, a lot comes your way. But I'll tell you something. Martha and I, my wife, stand up for a moment, my wife, just so you know who you are. I don't need many messages or many emails where people tell me, Pastor, don't ever give up. I used to be an atheist. You've brought me to God. I look at my wife and I tell her, I can take more mud slinging. I can take more accusations, whatever it takes. God knows the motive. God knows why. We were born for a time such as this. In Acts 5, verse 27, we read, and when they had brought them, talking about the apostles, when they had brought them, they set them before the council. And the high priest asked them, kind of sounds familiar what they're asking. Listen to this, verse 28, saying, did not we straitly command you that you should not teach in this name? And behold, ye have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine and intend to bring this man's blood upon us. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than man. If you have watched any of my messages being preached or have watched me, you know that I kind of find it hard to stand right in this place. So I ask for another mic just in case I move. Can I move a couple of feet? I won't move far away, but brethren, friends, relatives, I am passionate about what we're doing. I mean, I'm willing to give my life for it because it is serious what we're going through. It is serious what is happening before us. It didn't take me very long. Listen, we were in our cars on our parking lot. If I yell too loud, just turn the thing a little down. We were in our cars, the windows up, and the police are there violating, what's it called? Clearly violating the criminal code, section 179. They were on our yard filming the license plates and filming people sitting in their cars, reading their Bible, trying to follow along with the pastor. We were the safest parking lot in town. I tell you what that did for me. It told me right on the spot, that's of the devil, that's no virus. Sorry, I'm just a little passionate. I'm an adult. I don't need anybody to tell me, wash your hands, cough into your elbow. Mama told me that a long time ago. We know that. The pastors are not careless. The Canadian pastors that are standing up are not careless. We know what we need to do. But how could I fail the people when they needed me the most? How could I do that when those little children stood there and say, Pastor, we're praying for you? I said, by God's grace, the liquor store parking lot won't be filled and the church parking lot empty. Let the police come, all of you. Kill me if you like, but the church parking lot will not be empty. It's wrong. How do I know when my time is up? Okay. Officers, every Monday morning, first they tried on Sundays, and I said, we don't work on Sundays, we worship God. Give me my ticket tomorrow. So they did well with that, they listened. So every Monday morning, here comes the ticket. I said, officer, come into my house. Come to my house, we got to talk a little bit. No, it's okay. I said, no, sir, come into my house. I said, sir, let me ask you something. I said, sir, he was a young man. I said, do you realize that I'm doing this for your children? Do you realize that I'm standing up for your little ones? I said, give me a ticket, do whatever you want. But I said, I will not bow by God's grace as long as He gives me strength. I've got to stand up. If we can't stand up, close that Bible and go home and get a plumbing job. Do something. Fix water leaks. Make shoes. Do whatever. But if you want to preach the Bible, then preach it. And it says, listen folks, let me tell you something. The issue is not Romans 13. The issue is Acts chapter 5. We must obey God rather than man. And I tell you what, when the government gets out of their lane, sparks fly. Get back in your lane. You decide where the sidewalks go. You decide if we drive on the left or on the right. And we as the prophets, we as the preachers, will decide where the ancient landmarks are that are not supposed to be removed. CTV had the guts to tell me, Pastor, it doesn't look very godly what you're doing. I said, I'll tell you one thing. I'm not sure how godly it looked when Jesus was in the temple kicking over those tables. I'm not sure. But I said, when we're done kicking over some tables, maybe the whole thing will be a little more godly. I stand before you tonight. God is my witness. I bear no hatred. I have no ill feeling against any of them. I want every single officer, I want the sheriff that was there. I told him, I don't know if you saw that. I told him right there, as he demanded we leave the property, as he was there with all these people. It looked like a huge funeral coming on there with the locksmith and God bringing him. I tell you what, those people were shaking in their boots, because when you mess with God, when you poke God in the eye, that's no small matter. I told him, I said, sir, this is nothing personal against you, because I love his soul and I want his soul to make it. But we've got to stand up, folks. I am no noodleback. I am no flimsy thing. I don't preach for a living. I preach my heart out. I don't think I've got any notes left to preach. I don't think I've got any left to say. I just want to say it became very obvious right away that this was an agenda. Oh, we cooperated the first 2 weeks, flattened that curve. But I tell you what, in my passion, I got it flattened the first 2 weeks. I needed no 16 days after that. I said, I know there's an agenda behind this whole thing. We will gather, and we have never gathered as much as we've gathered this year. And listen, we needed one another. We needed one another more than ever before. And like the old timers used to say, no devil in hell can convince us otherwise. And don't worry, I'm not mad, I'm just passionate. I love the Bible. I love God. When I signed up for this, I wasn't always a Christian. When I signed up for this, I said, how does it go? Hook and sinker. I don't know how that goes, how to say it in English. I gave up everything. I said, Lord, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll preach whatever you want me to do, whatever it takes. And by God's grace, here I stand. And thank you, everyone, for praying. Thank you so much for your support. It means way more to me than you think. But I got to tell you this. As time went on and the judge ruled to lock our doors, it doubled our attendance. I think I'm supposed to stop. So we are determined to stand as long as we can stand by God's grace until we go home. Like the doctor said, if my faith is not worth dying for, folks, it's not worth living for. By God's grace, God bless you all. Thank you so very much.